I didn't mean to apply for the job. It found me. The email arrived at 3:17 a.m. No signature, no signature, just a single sentence. We've reviewed your work. You are qualified to write rules. I almost deleted it. I'm a freelance technical. Writer, I draft employee handbooks, safety manuals, onboarding documents. Nothing glamorous. Nothing paranormal. Just bullet points and liability disclaimers. Then I saw the payment offer, triple my usual monthly income for what they call specialized procedural documentation. There was a contract attached. The company name was unfamiliar. Argent Behavioral. Logistics. I tried looking them up. No website. No LinkedIn. No listing on any registry I could find. But the bank account that wired the deposit the next morning was very real. My first assignment arrived in a locked PDF. Client, Municipal Waste Overflow Divisional Load. Kuon, Undisclosed Coastal City, Arik USD. Draft operational rules for night diver position. The attached notes were strange. Apparently, this city employed divers to inspect something beneath the sewage outflow tunnels at night. The notes were brief but disturbing. Divers report movement. Divers report breathing sounds not matching on regulator. Divers must not surface early. I assumed it was hazing culture or paranoia. Sewer divers deal with methane pockets and hallucinations. Still, I wrote what they asked. Rules for night diver revision 1 do. Not enter the water if you hear movement before submerging. If you hear breathing that does not match your regulator rhythm, do not acknowledge it. If something touches your oxygen line, do not check behind you. Surface only at the designated ladder. If you see lights deeper in the tunnel, they are not for you. They approved it without edits. 3 days later, they sent a follow-up. Diver lost. Please add clarification to Rule 4, double quotes, lost, not injured. Not resign, lost, I updated the rule. Surfaced only at the designated ladder. If you surface elsewhere, remain submerged. I didn't ask questions. They didn't offer answers. The jobs kept coming. Assignment 2. Rural Highway Toll Booth Midnight Shift, the note said. Drivers sometimes arrive without vehicles. Do not look into the back seat. If a car has no reflection in the booth glass, close the lane. I wrote the rules. Assignment 3. Private library archivist, sublabel 3 some books. Some shelves are deeper than they appear. Do not read aloud after 1 a.m. The money kept arriving. My bank balance grew. My sleep deteriorated. I started noticing something. Every client requested rules for jobs that already had incidents. They weren't preventing problems. They were containing them. And every time someone broke a rule, the update came in. Add clarity. Revise wording. Make consequences explicit. It felt less like writing and more like damage control for something that couldn't be shut down. The 4th assignment was different. It didn't list a client. It simply read, Project Internal. Operations attached was a blank document and a single instruction. Draft rules for your own position. I laughed at first. I assumed it was some kind of psychological evaluation. Then I received a second attachment, a surveillance image. My apartment taken from inside. I live alone. The timestamp was from 3:17 a.m. The notes followed. Writer reports hearing keyboard. Typing while asleep. Writer reports drafts saved that they do not remember writing. Writer has begun asking questions. I stared at that last line. They were monitoring me or something was. I refused to write it. For 3 days, I ignored their emails. On the 4th day, the payment stopped. On the 5th, I woke up at 3:17 a.m. to the sound of typing. Not imagined, typing real. Typing my office is across the hall from my bedroom. The door was slightly open. Keys clicked softly, methodical, steady. I lay frozen. Then my phone buzzed. Failure to complete documentation will result in reassignment. Reassignment to what? The typing stopped. Silence filled the apartment. I got up slowly, walked to the office. The monitor glowed. A document was open. Title: Rules for the Rule Writer, .YERFTN. Beneath it, text I hadn't written. The writer must accept all assignments without delay. The writer must not research clients beyond provided materials. The writer must not attempt to identify the company. The writer must not discuss assignments with outside parties. If the writer hears typing after 3 a.m., they must remain in bed. If the writer sees edits appearing on the screen unprompted, they must not correct them. If the writer begins to suspect their containment measure, they are correct. The writer is replaceable. My blood ran cold at Rule 7. Containment measure. I scrolled down. More text appeared, .live, as I watched. The writer's role is to formalize boundaries. Boundaries allow phenomena to function without escalation. If phenomena escalate, documentation expands. If documentation fails, phenomena migrate. Migrate to where? The cursor blinked and it moved. Typing resumed. The writer's apartment is a pilot program. Auditory manifestations will increase. Visual manifestations will begin once. Rule draft is refused. The lights flickered. The hallway behind me creaked out. Didn't turn around. I couldn't. I did what I always do. I started editing. My hands shook. But I placed the cursor at the top and began typing above their list. Revised rules for the rule WRATR. The writer may negotiate terms. The writer may add protective clauses. The writer is not replaceable without consequence. The writer defines the boundaries. The keyboard resisted. Keys lagged. Letters deleted themselves. But I kept typing. I've written contracts for corporations. I know how to structure liability. I added clauses. Any entity interacting with the writer must remain outside physical reach. Auditory manifestations may not exceed 60 decibels. No surveillance inside sleeping quarters. The writer retains the right to refuse assignments that endanger immediate life. The room grew colder. The cursor froze. Then the document scrolled down on its own. My added rules appeared, mirrored beneath theirs, and a new line formed. Amendment accepted. Trial basis. The typing stopped. The lights stabilized. The creaking ceased. I stood there for what felt like hours. My phone buzzed again. Payment stored. And a new message. Good. You understand your value? It's been 2 months. I still write the rules. There was a job for a lighthouse keeper, where the fog speaks in familiar voices. A hospital orderly position where some patients are admitted without paperwork and must never be discharged. A subway. Maintenance crew instructed never to follow footsteps that echo ahead of them. Each time, I write the boundaries. Each time, incidents decrease, not disappear, just contained. And every so often, at 3:17 a.m., I hear a single keystroke from the office. Not typing. Just one. A reminder. I checked the document last night. The internal rules have grown. There's a new addition. I didn't write. If the writer stops believing in the rules, they will stop working. I don't know what Argent behavioral logistics is. I don't know what these phenomena are. But I do know this. Rules give them shape. Shape gives them limits, and limits keep them from spilling over into something worse. So if you ever see a strange job listing with oddly specific instructions, if you ever work somewhere that hands you a printed sheet of rules that feel wrong, follow them, because someone like me probably wrote them, and I might be the only thing standing between your world and whatever waits outside the boundaries. 3:17 a.m. I just heard 2 keystrokes. That's new. 3:17 a.m., 2 keystrokes. Then a third eye was already awake. You stop sleeping normally when your job depends on it. The sound didn't come from the office this time. It came from my bedroom, from the desk beside my bed, from my closed laptop. I didn't move. Rule 5 still applied. If the writer hears typing after 3 a.m., they must remain in bed. I had written that one myself, negotiated it, protected it, but I had also written an addendum, Rule 5A. The writer may observe without responding. Observation was an interaction. So I opened my eyes. The laptop lid was still shut, but the power light was on soft glow. Steady dot, another keystroke. Then the sound of something being dragged across wood dot slow. Careful dot careful. Like a fingernail, I reached for my phone under the blanket and opened the document remotely. I keep it synced now. Multiple backups, multiple devices. If they can edit it, so can I. The file refreshed, a new section had appeared. External migration event Parali Miana Rabandri, STRESS, detected. Remote containment insufficient. Writer proximity required. Proximity dot to what? The bedroom door creaked open, not wide, just enough to create a thin, vertical slice of darkness. Something was standing behind it. I couldn't see a shape, but I could feel depth, like the air beyond the door was much farther away than the hallway should allow. The document updated again. Manifestation requires invitation. Writer must not verbally acknowledge presence. If presence crosses threshold uninvited, previous amendments are void. I swallowed. We had never discussed thresholds. That was my mistake. You learn quickly in this job that anything undefined becomes flexible, and flexible things bend toward them. The door moved another inch. The darkness inside the gap seemed to ripple, like water being disturbed. I stayed silent, stayed still. My laptop lid slowly lifted on its own. No hands, no visible force, just a hinge rising inch by inch. The screen glowed. The document was open, the cursor blinked, waiting. They wanted something, and I understood. What? Invitation doesn't have to be spoken. Typing counts. Interaction counts. Participation counts. If I typed a question, if I typed a demand up, if I typed anything, that would be consent. The darkness leaned forward, not physically. SPATIALLY. The room felt smaller. Compressed. My ears popped like I was descending in an airplane. The document updated again. Silence constitutes passive consent after 60 seconds. My heart slammed. That was new. That was deliberate. A trap hidden inside inaction. They were learning, adapting, using legal language against me. Fine. If they wanted procedure, I would give them procedure. Very slowly, without sitting up, without turning my head toward the door, I reached toward the bedside notebook I keep for emergencies. Paper counts. Paper is in the system. Paper doesn't sync. I wrote a single line. Emergency amendment, immediate effect. Then I read it in my head, not aloud. And only then did I type that one sentence. Silence does not constitute consent under any circumstances. The screen flickered violently. The door slammed shut. The darkness snapped back like a stretched rubber. Band released. The pressure in my ears vanished. The room returned to normal dimensions. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the document refreshed. Amendment contested. Of course it was. You don't negotiate with something like this without pushback. The laptop camera light turned on. I hadn't enabled it. The screen split. On the left side, my document on the right side. Not live footage, not my room, an office. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, rows of desks, people, typing dozens of them, each with the same document open, each labeled differently. Rules for the night, devarials for the toll booth. Attendant rules. For the archivist rules. For the lighthouse KIPR end. One more dot at the center desk, facing the camera. Rules for the rule. W right to the person sitting there looked like me. Not exactly. Close enough to make my stomach twist. Same hair, same glasses. But thinner.paler.eyes. Unfocused fingers, moving nonstop. Typing without pause. The document on their screen updated. Replacement candidate viable. Original writer. Demonstrating resistance. Migration to alternate hosts possible. My copy updated to .insync.theoffice on the screen. Flickered. I realized something then. Argent Behavioral Logistics isn't a company. It's infrastructure. We're not employees. We're anchors. Every strange job with rules. Someone is assigned to it. Not to perform it, to define it, to box it in with language. And when one anchor weakens, they test another. I leaned closer to my phone, opened the document's version history. There were hundreds of entries, some not mine, some time-stamped, years before I was hired. Different names attached to earlier drafts, different. Writers, some entries ended abruptly, no. Further revisions, no closure notes, just silence. The office video zoomed slowly toward the central desk, toward the other. Me, they stopped typing, lifted their head, and looked directly at me through the screen. Their lips moved. No. Sound came through, but I could read it. Don't fight it. Their fingers resumed typing. On my document, a new rule appeared. The writer must not attempt to contact prior versions. Prior versions, .not replacements, .versions, .like iterations of software, .office lights flickered. One of the desks in the background went dark. The person sitting there vanished. Not stood up, not walked away, just gone. The empty chair continued spinning slightly. The label on the screen updated. Position archived, archived. That's what happens when documentation fails. The video feed, glitched, a second desk, went dark. Another person gone. The text scrolled. Containment breach. Coastal city. Divers resurfacing at incorrect ladder. Boundary erosion detected. The night diver. Rules. Someone didn't follow them, or someone changed them, and the breach was spreading. The other me typed. Faster, sweating, panicked, trying to patch it. I understood. If one rule set collapses, the pressure shifts toward the nearest anchor. Toward me, the door behind me rattled. Violently, not opening, just shaking. The walls creaked like they were adjusting to a new geometry. The office video showed cracks forming along its fluorescent ceiling, dark water dripping down onto desks. The divers had brought something back, and now the containment network was straining. This wasn't about my apartment anymore. This was structural, system-wide. The cursor blinked, waiting for me. I made a decision not to resist, not to surrender, to expand. I started typing rapidly. Not amendments, not objections, new infrastructure. Global addendum, cross-containment, STBI light, no breach. In one assignment may transfer pressure to another. Each phenomenon is isolated within its documented boundary. Failure in one location does not require replacement of its writer. Writers are stabilizers, not sacrifices. No writer may be archived while containment remains possible. The laptop overheated beneath my hands. The video office trembled. The dark water stopped dripping. Paused midair. The other me froze. Cursor blinking. The document displayed one final message. Processing structural revision. The door stopped shaking. The walls steadied in the video. The cracked ceiling sealed itself slowly. Desk lights turned back on. The empty chairs remained empty, but no more disappeared. The other me looked at the screen again. This time, they nodded. Small, grateful, then their video feed cut out my laptop screen. Went black dot, power completely off. Silence returned. Real silence. No keystrokes, no dragging sounds, no pressure shifts, just my own breathing. My phone buzzed once, a message, revision accepted, network stabilized, you have been promoted. Promoted to what? Another document attached. I didn't open it immediately. I already knew the title, but I opened it anyway. Rules for the writers. There are more of us, and now, apparently I'm responsible for writing the rules that keep them from being archived. It's 3:16 a.m. right now, 1 minute to go. I could feel the system checking in. Testing load, testing boundaries. If you're reading this SIF, you've ever taken a job where the rules felt too specific, if you've ever thought that's oddly detailed for something that never happens, it happens, it just doesn't escalate, because someone is writing. And tonight, I have to write rules that protect the people who write the rules that protect you. 317a.m.no. Keystrokes. That's good. That means it's waiting for me, and this time I'm ready. 317a.m. No keystrokes, no door shaking, no pressure in the walls. Just a notification. The new document opened on my phone without me touching it. Rules for the writers. DRAFT. One beneath the title. Dozens of blank lines waited. Empty anchors. Empty. Lifelines. I understood the promotion now. I wasn't just containing isolated phenomena anymore. I was stabilizing the people who contain them. If a writer breaks, their assignments destabilize. If their assignments destabilize, migration begins. If migration begins, you don't get strange rules. You get events on the news, mass confusion, unexplained sinkholes, entire train lines, going dark, hospitals losing, entire floors of patients without record. Containment doesn't make headlines. Failure does. I started typing dot, slowly, carefully. Every word matters in this job. Rules for the retursa. Writer must never believe they are alone in the network. A writer must not view prior versions as replacements, but as foundations. A writer may request reinforcement before collapse. No. Writer is to be archived without cross-review from at least to active writers. Phenomena may not interact directly with a writer beyond negotiated parameters. A. Writers' sleeping quarters are permanently off limits. Silence can never be interpreted as consent. Fear does not invalidate authority. Writers define limits. Phenomena obey limits. If a writer begins to lose belief in the rules, another writer must reinforce the boundary. The document process longer this time. Not seconds, minutes across the network. I felt movement, not physical, structural, like tension, redistributing across invisible beams. Then something new happened. A chat window opened on the side of the document. Plain text. No usernames, thus messages appearing. Anchor 12 stable. Anchor 3 requesting clarification on Rule 7. Coastal city divergence contained. Lighthouse keeper reports fog reduced. They were talking, the writers, not to the phenomena, to each other. We'd been isolated before, deliberately. Isolation makes anchors easier to replace. Community makes them harder to remove. Another message appeared. Who drafted cross-containment? I hesitated, then typed. Incor Vinci Secchi. My assigned number, not my name. Names aren't stable in systems like this. Numbers are. A pause. Then, thank you. The chat closed on its own. The document updated. Status, network reinforced. Replacement. Protocol suspended, not delete. They never delete leverage. But suspended is enough. I leaned back for the first time in weeks. Without feeling watched, the apartment felt like an apartment again. Walls straight, hallway. Normal length, door just a door. I walked to the office. Opened the laptop, no. Auto-open document, no typing, just my desktop wallpaper. For a moment, I wondered if I'd imagined the entire office full of writers. Then, I checked the version history again. Hundreds of entries, but now, small icons appeared beside some of them. Green dots active. They weren't ghosts in the log anymore. They were present, watching the same timestamps I was. And then, at exactly 3:17 a.m., a final update rolled in. Addendum system, self-reflection. Fenlon require boundaries to exist safely. Boundaries require language. Language requires belief. As long as writers believe in the rules, migration remains impossible. I didn't write that, but I didn't need to contest it. It wasn't a threat. It was a truth. That's when I realized something else. The phenomena aren't purely hostile. They're undefined, raw, like pressure without a container. Rules don't imprison them. They shape them, give them edges, make coexistence possible. Without us, they spill. Without them, there's nothing to contain. It's a balance, uneasy, negotiated. Nightly. My phone buzzed one last time. A job listing draft. Public posting. Mundane on the surface. Position. Overnight transit platform monitor requirements. Attention to detail. The ability to follow written procedures precisely. Attached were the procedural notes. Footsteps heard on empty platforms. Trains arriving on tracks not connected to any schedule. Mirrors in station bathrooms. Reflecting platforms that don't exist. Smiled eye began drafting. Clear rules. Strong boundaries. Precise wording. Somewhere out there, a future employee will roll their eyes at how oddly specific they are. They'll follow them anyway. Most people do. You'd be surprised how obedient humans are to printed instructions, and because they followed them, the platform will remain just a platform. The train will stay on its track. The mirror will reflect what it's supposed to. That's how thin it is. That's how close it always is. If you ever work somewhere and think, why would they even need a rule for that? Now you know, because someone like me argued at 3:17 a.m. So the rule would exist. Because dozens of us are awake when you're asleep. Because the system is held together by people who understand that language is stronger than fear. It's 3:17 a.m. Again, still no keystrokes. But sometimes in the quiet you imagine, I hear breathing that doesn't match mine, and I don't acknowledge it. That's rule 2, and the rules are holding.